For our deep dive today, we are heading way, way up north. We're going to a place that might just be the most beautiful and the most dangerous spot in the entire American upper Midwest.
We are. We're talking about Lake Superior's Apostle Island's National Lakeshore.
And we're really zeroing in on the famous mainland sea caves and the little town that serves as their gateway, Cornucopia, Wisconsin.
It's a place of incredible contradiction. I mean, this is a huge bucket list destination for kayakers.
Yeah.
But the sources we've looked at all hammer home the same point.
Which is...
Lake Superior is just,
Yeah.
it's absolutely volatile. We're talking the largest freshwater lake by surface area. It creates rough seas, dense fog, sudden squalls, and the water is so cold it can kill you in minutes.
So our mission today is a really practical one. We need to unpack the pretty extreme safety measures they've put in place here. Everything from high-tech warning systems to, requirements for certified guides.
And then we'll get into the town itself.
Exactly. We'll explore the charm and the logistics of Cornucopia. We're basically building you a preparedness manual so you can go see this stunning place with the respect it really demands.
And we have to start with the risk, the environmental risk, because really it dictates everything else that happens there. The whole draw is kayaking the sea caves, and that all starts at a place called Myers Beach.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics of the danger. The geography there seems to be actively working against you. Myers Beach is the main launch site, but the issue, as the sources point out, is that the cliffs themselves actually make the waves worse.
It's a really unnerving geological setup. You have to picture a huge concert bowl, but one that's carved out of soft rock.
A concert bowl?
Yeah, the cliff face acts like a parabolic dish. So when waves roll in, they hit these bowl-like shapes, and instead of the energy just fading away, it gets reflected and focused.
So it amplifies the waves?
It can amplify them by a huge amount, especially back inside the actual cave network.
Which makes the conditions just terrifyingly localized. What you see 100 yards away might look fine, but inside the caves, you could be dealing with something completely different.
Exactly. And that leads to the really critical safety problem. The visual blind spot.
From the launch point.
Right. The launch at Myers Beach is about 1.5 miles away from the first caves. From that distance, the lake might look totally fine, maybe a few small whitecaps.
But by the time you've paddled that 1.5 miles, you're committed. You've reached the point of no return.
And that's where it becomes potentially lethal. The experts we read all say that once you are at the caves and the conditions turn, there is, and this is a direct quote, no place to get out.
No place to get out.
You can't just beach your kayaks. You can't scramble up these slick, crumbling cliffs. If the waves get over just 1 foot, capsizing is suddenly very, very likely. And that water is cold. We're talking 40s Fahrenheit, usually.
Hypothermia would be almost immediate.
It is. The sources confirm at least 2 deaths and numerous major rescues over the years, all tied to these suddenly amplified waves and the cold water.
When you lay it out like that, you really start to understand why the prep is so intense. And the very forces that create these beautiful caves are also what makes them so unstable and dangerous.
And if you zoom out, this is all rooted in the coastal instability of the whole Lake Superior shoreline there in Bayfield County. These bluffs are not solid granite. They are fundamentally weak.
It sounds like they're just perpetually failing. What are the big factors driving all this erosion?
It's a combination of 4 main forces. Waves are the most obvious one. They undercut the base of the cliff, which carves out the caves.
Okay.
But the wind is also a huge factor because that's what creates the wave energy in the first place. And that power builds up because of something called fetch.
That's one of those technical terms we should probably unpack. So fetch is just the distance the wind blows over open water, right?
It is, yeah, but its impact is almost exponential.
What do you mean?
Well, think about pushing a swing. A short, weak push doesn't do much. But if you give that push the whole length of a playground to build momentum, by the time it hits the swing, the energy is massive.
And Lake Superior is huge. It has maximum fetch.
Exactly. So a steady wind over that huge distance translates into incredibly powerful, fast-building waves by the time they hit the coast. A calm morning can turn into a gale by the afternoon.
Wow.
And the other 2 factors are more about the bluff's internal structure. First, groundwater flow. Water seeping through the rock adds weight. It weakens the slope and basically magnifies gravity's pull.
And the second one?
Freeze and thaw cycles. Water gets in the cracks, it freezes, it expands. It acts just like a wedge, physically breaking the rock apart. You can see big chunks of it fall off during the spring melt.
So these aren't solid bedrock cliffs. They're made of this fragile material left by glaciers. It's like compressed sand and clay that's constantly being attacked from the outside and broken up from the inside.
That is the core vulnerability. It's called glacial till, and it makes these bluffs prone to constant failures.
Mm.
We see two main types. The first is a translational slide.
Which is what, exactly?
Imagine a shallow layer of wet paint just sliding off a wall. It's shallow, maybe just a foot or two thick, moving down a straight surface. Then you have rotational slides, which are much deeper. A big chunk of the cliff breaks off and slumps down a curved, scoop-like path.
So the takeaway is, whether you're on the water or hiking above, the ground is always moving.
It is always moving.
So given this constant instability, putting up any kind of permanent safety infrastructure must be a total nightmare. How are officials even addressing this, an environment that's always undermining them?
That is the beautiful intersection of geology and technology. Since you can't trust what you see from a mile and a half away, the answer is real-time data.
Right.
Started with the website, ckcaveswatch.org, posting photos and data.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, the biggest flaw is the launch point itself.
Myers Beach has almost no cell service, so a website is useless if your phone doesn't work right when you need that information the most.
And that's where the high-tech solution comes in, the real-time wave kiosk system, or RTWKS. They basically leapfrogged the infrastructure problem by installing a totally self-sustaining system right there at the launch.
It's a really adaptive piece of tech. The kiosk gives you the latest wave height, water temp, wind speed, and, crucially, the future forecast, all on a big 22-inch monitor.
And what's so fascinating is the design. It's so simple, which is what you need when it's life or death. It's not some complex touchscreen. You just push a big, obvious red button to wake it up and get the info.
And it's solar-powered.
Totally. Which means no need to run power lines out there. It just goes into a sleep mode when it's not being used, so it's super energy efficient. It's a really genius solution for a very specific problem.
That makes perfect sense. You're solving the data access problem right at the point of decision, with a simple piece of hardware that doesn't rely on any other infrastructure. Okay, let's talk logistics, because the risk level seems to change dramatically depending on which sea caves you want to see.
This is probably the single most important thing to know for planning your trip. There is a huge risk divide, depending on where you are in the Bayfield Peninsula.
Okay.
The west side, that's Myers Beach, Sand Island, all those famous mainland caves. They're the biggest, most dramatic ones. But they carry what the sources call a heightened level of risk.
And what does that mean in practical terms if you're booking a trip?
It means there is a very, very high chance of your tour getting canceled. We're talking approximately 50% of the time.
50%?
50%. As soon as the waves are forecast to be over just 1 foot, it's generally a no-go.
Wow, that's a coin toss. How do outfitters even run a business like that? And think of the frustration for travelers. You fly all the way out there just for it to be called off.
It's a huge challenge, which is why the good outfitters are really transparent about it. But the safer alternative is to look at the east side of the peninsula, places like Houghton Point and Chequamegon Bay.
What's so different about the east side?
It's all about geography. The east side has what's called exceptional protection. These spots are tucked away from the big open lake and the main wave action, so the water's usually calm, seldom over a foot.
And the cancellation rate?
It drops to about 5%.
That's a massive difference. So if your goal is just to get in a kayak and see some sea caves without all the stress, you head east. If you want the iconic, high-risk, high-reward ones, you go west and accept the 50-50 odds.
That's it exactly. And if you do choose the west side, the National Park Service strongly encourages a guided tour, especially if you don't have cold water paddling experience and the right gear.
And that gear is no joke. The NPS is very specific. They warn against using small open boats, canoes, any kind of open cockpit or sit-on-top kayak, and definitely no paddle boards near the caves or islands. You need a proper sea kayak.
And if you do go with a guide, you want an outfitter that's approved by the National Lakeshore, and this is critical guides who are certified by the American Canoe Association, the ACA. That ensures they have a baseline of rescue and safety skills.
That high cancellation rate has also created some interesting business models for the outfitters, right?
It has. So some will offer a 100% refund if they have to cancel because of weather, but others go even further. They'll guarantee a sea cave experience or your money back, meaning if the west side is too rough, they'll take you to a safer east side spot instead or give you a full refund. They won't just take you on some random paddle as a consolation prize.
That guarantee really tells you how serious the situation is. Okay, that's a great deep dive into the risks. Let's shift gears now to the mainland hub for all this. Cornucopia, Wisconsin. Or as the locals call it, Corny.
Corny is such a great contrast to all the high-stakes risk we just talked about.
Hmm.
It's the northernmost town in Wisconsin, the western gateway to the lake shore. It's an old fishing village, and it's famous for having this really slow, deliberate feel. The sources describe it as having the feeling of a slow summer day with an old-school motel charm. It's truly a place apart.
It sounds it. But it's also essential. The whole business district is only 2 blocks long, but it's anchored by some real history, like the historic Ehlers General Store. It's been open since 1915.
That store is a fantastic piece of Americana. It is a true general store. I mean, it sells everything from local groceries to marine pipe fittings.
Wow.
There's a great local saying about it. You may not find what you want, but you will find what you need. It also has the northernmost post office in Wisconsin, and they still use these beautiful antique brass mail slots.
I love that the post office itself is a tourist attraction.
It just speaks to the charm of the place. Yeah. But the heart of the town really is the harbor. You've got a couple of marinas, and the Green Shed Museum is right there. It's in the original fish house and has over a century of local history inside.
And being an old fishing village, I assume you can taste that history pretty directly.
Oh, absolutely. Halverson's Fisheries is right there on the dock, selling fresh and smoked whitefish, lake trout, salmon, all straight out of Lake Superior. The smoked trout is legendary. It's worth the drive all by itself.
So beyond the town itself, it sounds like a great base for other mainland adventures, too.
It is. You can start right at Cornucopia Beach. It's a nice sandy beach on Siskiwit Bay, so it's protected and shallow enough to actually be a decent spot for swimming in Superior, which is rare. But the best feature is the Artisan Well, right by the parking lot.
An artisan well.
Yeah, it just provides this continuous supply of fresh, cold water straight from the ground. It's delicious, a real local gem.
And for hikers, there are waterfalls nearby, too, right?
2 of them feeding right into the lake. Lost Creek Falls is the popular one. It's about a 3-mile out-and-back trail.
Yeah.
And if you're careful, you can actually climb behind the waterfall.
Oh, cool.
Then there's Siskiwit Falls, which is more of a local spot. It's known as a natural water slide. It's these smooth sandstone slabs. Which I should probably warn you, though, if you're going to slide, wear something protective. Sandstone is smoother than concrete, but not by much.
Good to know. And for the really ambitious hikers, there's the Lakeshore Trail, which actually starts back at Myers Beach.
This is a really rugged trail. It goes for 6 miles to the only reservable backcountry campsite on the mainland. And it gives you, quite literally, the upper hand on all that sea cave danger we were talking about.
How so? What's the experience like from up above the caves?
Well, Section 2 of the trail runs directly over the sea caves, and it's as much an audio experience as it is a visual one. Hikers talk about hearing this loud popping and booming, the cave wave chorus, they call it, echoing up from the chambers below. It's a constant reminder of the power down there.
And there's one spot in particular, the crevasse.
There is. The crevasse is a 100-yard-long fracture in the bedrock. It's an incredible viewpoint, because if you're careful, you can look right down through the crack and see kayakers paddling in the caves below you. It's this moment where the high-risk water world and the safer land world literally converge.
That really does sum up the whole region, doesn't it? The Apostle Islands demand so much respect. You're balancing these dramatic natural forces, the erosion, the wave amplification, with these very sophisticated human safety systems, like that solar-powered kiosk and the certified guides.
And now you really have a handle on it. You've gone from the geology of glacial till and fetch to the practical logistics of booking a safe trip.
Yeah.
Knowing that critical difference between the 50% cancellation rate on the west side and the 5% rate on the east side, that gives you the power to really choose your own adventure and to do it intelligently.
You are now thoroughly prepared for the geology, the technology, and, of course, the local charm of Cornucopia.
So as you plan your own trip, here's a final thought to mull over. We learned that these bluffs are made of ancient, fundamentally unstable glacial till. It's material that's subject to rapid change from water, wind, and ice. So how does knowing about this profound geological instability change how you view permanent solutions versus adaptive, real-time ones? It's a reminder that in these environments ruled by the power of nature, sometimes the only truly reliable infrastructure isn't something fixed in place, but something designed to adapt, to report, and to warn.